So Colin, I'm very happy to have you here for our collaboration project on regulatory science and individual drug effects. So I would like to pose you some questions on the part that is done in Africa. All drugs are on the market in a global world, so they are available everywhere in the same quality. What does remain with regard to science?
Since the completion of the whole human genome in 2003, many studies have shown that for genes important for drug response, there is a lot of individual variation as well as interpopulation variation, which means that when drugs are optimized in one population, it does not mean they will work the same way in another population. And our research has shown that African populations show many variations which are predicted to result in different drug response. Therefore, there is a science for bridging the use of these medicines from where they have been developed and discovered in Europe to where they are being introduced in the African populations.
Could you think of an example where we see differences when we get the same drug at the same dose in patients in Africa compared to patients in Europe, for example?
Indeed, our recent work in the treatment of HIV, when antiretroviral drugs were introduced in Africa, the incidence of adverse drug reactions rose up to 80%. And the same was not observed in European populations, where the drugs were discovered and optimized. And this made us to investigate why this was so. So we studied one of the antiretroviral drugs called efavirenz. And we noticed that people of African origin had more incidences of adverse drug reactions than Europeans. Then when we looked at the genetic basis for it, we were able to show that there is a genetic variant in a system that handles this drug, where Europeans are able to handle the drug without any problems. But when you go to African populations, that system has a low capacity to function, which means the drug concentrations increase, hence the increased side effects. And this work has resulted in the WHO, the World Health Organization, suggesting or recommending a dose reduction from the original 600 milligrams, which was used in Europeans, to now using 400 milligrams. So this reduction in dose has resulted in a reduction in adverse drug reactions, or those drugs which show a lot of variation from one individual to the other. We believe these drugs, there must be a cautionary note that even when they have been put on the market, they must be reinvestigated for approval in different populations.
So this means that even after a drug is marketed, we still have a need for doing research.
Indeed, you are right, and that is where our collaboration really comes in, because when we discussed this before and conceptualized our collaboration, we chose countries in sub-Saharan Africa, Zambia, Malawi, and Zimbabwe, and we formulated research questions to see how healthcare professionals are handling medicines. Are they understanding inter-individual variation? Are they understanding the drug-drug interaction? Are they understanding that maybe the antibiotic drug resistance we are observing is because of poor drug use? And now we have at least 3 PhD students from the 3 different countries. 1 PhD student from Malawi, 1 from Zambia, and 1 from Zimbabwe, working on various topics to tackle this issue. And we believe that the results of this research will inform the regulators and will also encourage the drug manufacturers to take into account this population variability.
So we are very happy in this Global Health Protection Project to be able to collaborate with you, and not only on the same level, but even with a majority of research being done in Africa. And we are very happy to do this comparative research on therapy outcomes and variability in patients in drug therapy together with you.
I'm also excited. You have done tremendous work over the years in this area. And I think sharing your experiences in developing a knowledge and capacity for clinical pharmacology in Africa presents a good opportunity for development. And having students from both our countries creates a new generation of collaborators who will be able to work together in the future so that it's a sustainable solution to the emerging world of addressing drug variability and drug safety and efficacy.